Hello, this is Diana Herrington, and I'd like to welcome you to Minors Council Training 2021. Today I'm presenting on social media. What's up? Today, probably those of you who work with children are aware that what has changed most in the world of children over the last 15 years is social media. Our children live in a world that we did not grow up in. It's a world that we're not familiar with, and it's a world that they are learning to navigate, sometimes with our help and sometimes without our help. Whether we are involved in social media ourselves or not, we need to understand what's going on in social media because the children we work with are involved in social media. These statistics are taken from the PEU Research Center, Internet and Technology, and is the latest survey they've done, 2018. So I want you to think about it. Since the pandemic has started, these numbers have gone up significantly. But even before the pandemic, let's look at what the numbers tell us. 95% of teens have access or own a smartphone. The most popular platforms are YouTube, Instagram, and Snapchat. Facebook has declined in popularity. Teens from lower income homes are more likely to use Facebook than higher income kids. 45% of teens say they are online constantly. 9 in 10 boys, 92%, have access to a game console at home. 97% say they play video games in some form or fashion. A little bit of a gender difference here. 75% of girls report having access to a game console, and 83% report playing video games. As I said, these are the numbers pre-pandemic. I would venture to say, having worked with kids all through the pandemic, that the percentage of teens that are online constantly probably is up to at least 75%. Um, the, the teens need you to understand what their world online is like. Bullying affects not only who they are online, but it affects them in real time. There's a thing that we sort of call social media depression. And this is a quote from American Girls, Social Media and the Secret Lives of Teenagers. And it's a young woman talking about her life. I feel like we're living in a second world. There's a real world, and then there's a second world on social media. It's depressing and anxiety producing. Different than when we were growing up, for children, for teens, and children also, they feel constantly exposed. There is interaction with kids, even all hours of the night, all hours of the day. When they're online, they're exposed. They don't think of it as exposed, we do, but the outcomes of it can be very difficult for children to deal with. Rumors can be started instantly and can be read by hundreds of people in a matter of seconds. What this looks like in real life is that some kids can be at school on Tuesday, part of the group, having fun, go home, start doing their homework, click in, check in on their accounts, and suddenly see that 25, 30 of their friends are shaming them for something or making fun of them or telling them something they did is wrong. And by the time they get to school the next morning, nobody's talking to them. And it's been a mere matter of 24 hours. That is so different than our experience of growing up, where when you were at school, yes, things could happen. People could reject you. You could end up eating lunch alone. But you were usually there, and it was in real time. Kids had some sense of not saying things if they weren't true, or just jumping in, because we were all face to face. Being online means that children will say things and do things that they wouldn't do if they are faced with their friends in real time. Adults do the same thing. Sexting. Sexting, as I'm sure you're all aware of, is sending, receiving, forwarding sexually explicit images or pictures or messages. Uh, Many adults believe that kids don't participate in sexting, and actually, that is a misnomer. Um, During middle school, sexting has become something that children do, and actually, they're sexting before they have the maturity to understand what the consequences can be. Many times, boys will send a girl that they have a crush on, or a girl that they know have a crush on them, and will ask them to send sexually explicit pictures of them, usually of their breasts or of them posed in sexy poses with bikinis on, things like that. And girls believing that the boy likes them and this is a way to keep them interested in them, uh, and that it's sincere on the boy's part, will send them pictures and then be horrified when they find out the next day that these pictures are being circulated among the entire population at the school. Children this age don't, as I say, have the maturity to understand the sexual connotations of putting yourself out there on the internet. Teens often judge themselves in relationship to how many likes and followers they have on their different accounts. Um, and this is part of what contributes to what we call social media depression, because the children actually will sit there and count. They don't take into consideration that maybe there weren't many people online, or that it just wasn't that interesting. They take it personally about whether or not they're accepted by their peers. Probably one of the major issues that parents deal with, and you as minors counsel need to be aware of and also deal with, is that the majority of teens do not have the maturity to understand that the lives that are posted by media stars, influencers, or their other friends are edited and made up. They truly believe that what they see online is the actual reality of these people's lives. If you talk to middle school girls, they don't believe that, or haven't thought of, that these beautiful teenagers that are 16 or 17 that are influencers or have become stars, they really don't believe that those kids have gotten up, put on makeup, that they, because of their position, are given all of these clothes. They just think this is normal life and this is what their life should look like. And this results in them feeling like they're missing out. It results many times in them pressuring their parents for certain kinds of clothes, certain kinds of makeup, certain types of room decorations, certain types of trips and experiences. Many times this falls into the realm when we're dealing with alienation cases, where one parent will take this up and try to help the child have one of these online lives. And the child obviously is going to gravitate towards that parent, and they're not going to want to listen to the parent who may be more down to earth and explain to them that this just is not the way they're going to live, or that the way their family can afford it, or that it's really healthy for them. So it has many outreaching results in working with kids. COPA, Child's Online Privacy Protection Act, prohibits websites from collecting information on children younger than 13 years old without parents' permission. And if you look at the policies on most social media sites, they state that children must be 13 years old before having a page. No big surprise, children lie. Um, and I think it's important that parents, as well as Minors Council, or Minors Council helps parents understand they need to be on all of their younger children's accounts. They need to monitor them. They need to have the passwords. The children need to know that their parents at any time can pull up their account and look and see what's going on. Children many times will say, well, that's invading my privacy. That's not true. Parents' job is to protect children, and children, until they're quite a bit older, really do not have the maturity to protect themselves online. And they do need to know that they're being watched, and not that they're being told what they can and cannot put up, but that they're being taught, just like in all other areas of their life, what is appropriate and what's not appropriate. There are many safe children's websites, such as Club Penguin, that allow children to play games online and chat with friends. Um, During the pandemic, social media has become important to children for staying in touch, and sites such as Club Penguin have been wonderful for children to stay in touch with friends. There is a gap between parents and children regarding knowledge of technology. Many children are more knowledgeable than their parents about technology. They're probably more knowledgeable than we are about technology. And as you can imagine, this leads to some problems. Um, Parents may say to a child, okay, you may not be on that, you may not have a Snapchat. You're too young for Snapchat. Um, and not have the knowledge of how to check to see if their children have opened up a account under another name, or are operating a what they call a ghost account. Parents may not know how to log into their children's websites. Um, and this is something that, as Minors Council, you will want to be working with parents to help them understand that they need, if they don't have the knowledge, they need to get the knowledge of how to stay ahead of their kids as far as social media goes. And the parents need to be aware and spend some time researching what each of the websites that the kids want to be on, what those websites are about. They need to understand that on Snapchat, a picture goes up and then it disappears. So many times that's a platform that adults will use to put, ex- get children to, they will pose as young children or young teens, and get children to send them information where they can contact the child. Uh, so the parents need to understand what happens on all the different platforms. Children's computer use should be monitored for inappropriate websites, overuse, children giving out personal information. A 2012 survey of teens, and I don't think this has changed much, revealed that most of them will share their name, school, their picture, birth date, and city they live in online, where it is available to anyone. And young and children are even more apt to do this. Um, Children just do not understand. Uh, they're innocent, which is good. We want them that way. But they don't understand that perfectly good things can be used for bad purposes. And online is one of them. And they many times are tricked into giving out information. They may give out their name, and remember that the parents have told them, don't ever tell anyone where you live. But someone may say, so what school do you go to? And they will tell them the school, which then gives that person, if they have their name and their school, if they want to track them, they most likely can. Um, Overuse is a problem has been a problem during the pandemic, and it can be a problem even without the pandemic. Um, Children, particularly children that have social anxiety, prefer to stay in their rooms and on the computer as opposed to being out with kids or out in social situations. Um, Gaming, as we started with, has become a huge pastime for teens, sometimes adults, sometimes children, and they will prefer to be online gaming rather than with friends, developing social skills and doing activities that may be contributing more to their development than just gaming online. Some kids have developed the belief that they are going to make their living by being YouTube streamers online with games, and will tell their parents, I'm practicing, I'm going to make millions. It's kind of the current part when we were growing up. It was, we're going to be a rock star. And today for kids, it's mostly, I'm going to be a streamer and I'm going to be an influencer on whatever platform it is. So parents, it's important as minors counsel that you become aware of what are the children's social media habits, and do the parents allow them 24-hour access to social media and to computers and to gaming? Do they watch what they're doing? Do they explain to the kids why they need to be offline? Uh, do they have family time where everyone puts down their phone and comes to the dinner table and communicates at the table? Or is dinner everyone eating separately with their phone in their hand, uh, gaming, reading, whatever? So this is something that has changed over the years that people working with children need to be aware of. Um, as we were talking about what children do, they are developing lifelong habits. Part of parenting is understanding that what we train children to do in childhood is going to translate into how they do adult life and lifelong habits. Children cannot learn social skills online. Social skills takes being with people. It takes learning to read facial cues, body cues. Um, there's a difference how our brain uh, takes in uh, things from our senses. Healthy child development requires movement, touch, human connection, and connection with nature. None of those things occur online or on screen. So children have to, for healthy development, have times that they are off screen and literally out of the house, outside with friends, learning how to socialize. Technology has a healthy place in children's lives, but it should not dominate a child's life. And that's really the issue here is it doesn't make sense for parents anymore to say, my child cannot be on social media at all. Um, Again, it's part of parents' job to teach their children how to be on social media, how to use online in a healthy way in their life, not to just say, nope, you can't have any of that, it's not good. Um, and quite frankly, children have to understand technology today. While the pandemic has been going on and distance learning has been what the children have been participating in, all of their schooling is online. Uh, Probably some of the biggest challenges for children, and by the way, their parents who are helping them, is how to deal with technology after the kids do their homework, how to get it to the teacher. Uh, a lot of kids that I've worked with during the pandemic, their grades have fallen, and this happens for several reasons. Um, but their grades have fallen, and sometimes it's because they do the work, but then they lose focus or they don't understand how to get it to their teachers. Their parents don't understand. So this is an area that we have to work with children. Um, During the pandemic, social media actually was a primary vehicle for children to stay connected to friends. Um, with that said, most teens that I've talked to, and when you read research on it that's coming out, the teens do not feel that social media connects them with friends in the same way as being with them. Most teens express missing their friends. Where a lot of teens before pandemic would say, "Oh, I don't need to see my friends. I can just see them online." When they've actually had the experience of not being able to connect with their friends and only seeing them online, have learned the difference between having friends in real time and just being able to connect with them online. Uh, Although they miss seeing them in person, online does meet a need for socialization for the kids. Um, on the other side of that is many children are developing social anxiety at the thought of returning to normal school. Many kids are telling their parents, "I don't want to go back to school. I just want to stay online. I don't want to." They know for some children that have social anxiety to start with, not being at school is easier than being at school because they don't have to interact with the kids. Um, so again, children are all different. We have some kids that have done really well academically doing distance learning, but then we have more children that have not done well with distance learning. It has been difficult for them, although they may not miss, they may have anxiety about going to school and they may not miss their friends as much as others, that they have not been able to sustain attention to the degree that's necessary for them to actually complete their schoolwork and do their homework. And when you couple that, the fact that academically they may not be doing as well, with the thought that they now have social anxiety at the thought of actually being with kids, we're going to be seeing for the next few years um, a lot of mental health issues with getting kids back into school and back into what we would call the normal flow of things, of just getting up, going to school, being with friends, dealing with friends, coming home, having activities, sports, whatever, doing homework, going to bed, and starting up again. Kids have gotten off on all kinds of very odd sleep patterns. Uh, it seems like many, many, many teens have reversed night and day for themselves. They're up to 2, 3, 4 in the morning, sleep in late, um, and barely get themselves to school or online to school. Um, and the thought for many kids when I talk to them these days about, okay, well, when pandemic's over, what activities are you going to do? And they're like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to have time." They've lost the whole flow of how to get things done. So there's going to be a mental health issue here, and I think it's going to impact issues for timeshare and custody, because the parents are once again going to have to um, work together to get the kids back to school to make it healthy. And again, as we've talked about with parents who will alienate, or parents who want to be the favored parent, this is going to be another opportunity once again that the family will be divided, with one parent saying, okay, you need to get back to school, you need to be in activities, and the other parent saying, well, no, I think it's, they're really okay being home, and they don't really want to be back at school. So I think you're going to be dealing with a lot of timeshare and custody issues that circle around children getting back to school. Um, And talking about distance learning, um, in general, the children do find it hard to focus for long periods of time. Um, and what has happened with that is many children who are left home without parental guidance during pandemic, they've had no choice. They turn off their cameras during class and they go over and they will do online gaming, or they will go back to sleep, or they will do whatever they want to do other than school. Um, Children who have parents at home who are helping them with this are less likely to engage in that kind of activity. But parents tell me, even when they're there, sometimes they go into the kid's room and their kid's asleep. Uh, and it's kind of understandable, and you guys may you may be experiencing the same thing through this lecture. It's really hard to pay attention for long times just to voices and faces on a screen, and children's academics have suffered because of this. um, so I hope this has been a helpful presentation. It's just a beginning understanding of social media and how it interacts with children and teens. I think the takeaway from this is that if you're going to be working with teens, as minors counsel, you need to research and educate yourself the same that parents do. Again, I don't think we can ask of parents something that we don't know or don't do. Doesn't mean you've got to have a TikTok account, doesn't mean you have to have a Snapchat account, but it does mean you need to talk probably with your kids, with your adult kids, with your grandkids, um, and you need to go online uh, and learn what each one of those platforms are like, what ages they're appropriate for. For the most part, you know, thinking about Snapchat, um, Instagram, those are platforms that most teens use. Instagram probably being a better platform than Snapchat. Snapchat allows for more opportunities for perpetrators to try to lure children. And that's something else that is important that parents are aware of, that, children sometimes middle school kids, particularly kids that tend to be rebellious for other reasons or just who they are, um, will actually connect with someone online, believing that they're a teenage boy, a teenage girl, whatever, and they will make arrangements to meet them offline. And obviously, this is extremely dangerous. Uh, and it's important that parents understand that they know where their kids are. If their kids say they're going somewhere, they need to have enough control in their family of knowing where children are and what they're doing. Um, and again, this goes to you helping as the children's advocate, making sure that they're in the home with the parent that will give them guidance, will be knowledgeable, and stay on top of things. I hope this has been a helpful presentation, and hope you enjoy the rest of the Minors Council training. Thank you.